March 2026, quick little garden overview. So this upper part is production. I have a bed of small bulb garlic. It's good for eating. I got this row of haskaps and rosemaries. And then I have 3 raised beds filled with rotten wood at the base, and they're mostly for tomatoes. On the edges I have some garlic that was just scrap. Even though it's scrap, it had enough vitality to sprout on the ground, so I saved it, and I will probably have a braid or two of free garlic. This empty space will be tomato. I got carrots on the backside of that rose. This small raised bed is mountain celery that's sprouting. 2 winter savories. Here I threw down the seed pods of the winter savory, hoping it will sprout, and a thyme. This was a half-hearted attempt at hugelkultur. I've since stripped it. We will put in sheet metal with some shoring, and this will be a garlic production zone. This will be nothing but big bulb garlic. My compost pile with its jacket to keep it insulated and moist. I will do a separate little video on that. There's some decorative parts like this witch hazel and a bunch of perennials around an artificial pond. I have my big raspberry rectangle that produced about 7-8 gallons of raspberries. Since then I have punched a path all the way through for better weeding. I have ripped out all the weeds, put down a layer of biochar and some wood chips. Obviously all the invasives like buttercup will continue coming in, but it's a bit easier. And you can see how much vitality these rhizomes have. There are new young runners everywhere. So should be a good crop. The central island is a buckthorn with a bunch of decorative perennials. So nothing edible, but lots of bee food. And I believe you can already see some of them, some bumblebees. This island was a couple of neglected pears. We have since trimmed them to just 2. And I have planted a trio of gummy berries. These are called the silverleaf cherry from Asia. They make wonderful edible berries. And this should be a haven for bees with all the catmint, which makes a lot of nectar. I think these were catmints, but I wasn't sure if they're annual or not. So the idea is that these guys take over this whole mound. I've been adding biochar to it as a fill. So it still has another year or 2 to go, because I will continue adding fresh material, possibly cap it with proper soil. If I pull the mulch back, you can see there's some wrigglers. Things look quite good. So this section, I used to have blackcurrant bushes and hybrids dotted all over the place. I've since scrapped all of this, turned this into clean lawn, planted a baby plum, and turned the lower section into 3 production rows, all with drip irrigation fed by this water line. So these 2 rows are thornless blackberry, just on their first spring. Probably about a year before they produce, so they should bear fruit next year. These will be tied off to these trellises and enjoy about 6 feet of height. And back here I have the remnants of my old garden, which was blackcurrants. There's a couple of gaps in this row, so I took the most promising blackcurrants that I had dotted, and I have planted them to complete this row. It is also drip irrigated. And these mounds that the blackberries are in, I have rolled about 3 cubic yards of biochar into them. And looking at the activity on the blackberries, they seem to appreciate it. So these guys are sending out new shoots already. And this is a hugel mound. Most of my hugel mound stuff was a bit of a failure. I was too overzealous. Didn't realize that it's actually not the best growing medium until it disintegrates completely. But the corner of the garden was quite unusable. There was an old stump and low-lying, oddly shaped terrain behind it. So I piled some rounds around it. I kept dumping unwanted organics on it. This late winter, I piled up extra rotten wood I had, dressed it with biochar and forest floor sweepings, and then covered it with straw. Inside this mound, right on the top, is where a bunch of Cuban mint rhizomes live, and here there's a bunch of catnip rhizomes. So it's mostly a herb bed, and because the soil quality was relatively poor, the rhizome had a hard time spreading from the top of the mound. But now that I've been putting more biochar in it, it's going to start resembling actual soil. And on one half of it, I have these clusters of horseradish. I have not yet harvested them, but judging from the size of these roots, they're huge. I just couldn't be bothered to dig them out. So when the leaves grow up, they're about 5 feet high. Quite a bit of vitality in them. So that's my garden. Here's my charcoal zone, and just on the outside, I have a row of sea buckthorns. These guys make berries that have like a pine Fanta flavor. Quite good for jams and preserves.